Hello, this video series is about requirements management. Okay, where's requirements management with respect to the business analysis knowledge areas? This is where it is. Basically, if you will remember from the previous video series, I have also introduced this kind of requirements analysis and design definition processes or activities in sequence and intertwined as well, which is in fact kind of accompanied with the requirements lifecycle management practices. Okay, by the way, I mean, what does requirements lifecycle management knowledge area entails? It basically describes the tasks that the business analysts perform in order to manage and maintain the requirements, basically from inception to the retirement. And in fact, this entire series is about that. Okay, so how does it relate, or where does it start and when does it end? So if we separate the requirements development and management into two parts, we do the requirements elicitation, analysis, documentation, review, and negotiation, and so on and so forth. That the things that we have been discussing throughout this course. And at some point in time, you just document these things, or not necessarily document, but you take what we call, or you put them in a repository, and at some point in time, you baseline them. I mean, what we call baseline. You just say that, okay, that is my collection and that is stable enough. Now that's my baseline, and from now on I will manage the requirements collection. And that is basically the time, the most relevant time, let's say, for the requirements management activities to commence. Okay, so what happens is that from then on, you would like to control the changes that would happen into your baseline requirements. What happens, of course, due to many reasons, marketing, customers, management, I mean, a lot of reasons, environment, project environment, domain requirements, business environment in general imposes or influences requirements changes, and you would like to somehow control the changes that are happening in the requirements. Otherwise, it would just go mad. It would just enter into a chaotic situation. Okay, so you can't simply afford a situation where your designer and your code and your developer has taken one or a set of requirements and has already started developing it, and then in that particular process, he or she's that the requirements that has been taken as a basis for the design and implementation and testing is changing. You can't afford that. You have to control this, and that's why, in fact, we have these requirements management practices. In fact, closely related to the software lifecycle paradigms as well. In fact, the agile approaches basically emerged to be able to control the requirements changes. Many of the practices we'll see, in fact, let me mention that there are, I'll be talking about 7 good practices. At least in the handouts, you'll see 7 good practices of requirements management, and many of them, I should admit, that valid for large projects, let's say following incremental, sometimes waterfall projects. In agile projects, many of these practices are not, let's say, followed, to say the least. Okay. Again, in fact, why do we have these practices? Basically, in order to ensure that changes that I've been just mentioning will not lead to a chaotic situation, not lead to a chaos. But the change process is controlled and the decisions are made sensibly. And of course, we need to keep all the project stakeholders informed about the current state of the requirements engineering activities. We also have such practices within requirements management as well. So there are 7 key good practices. I'll what we're going to do, I'll not talk about these good practices right now, because I'll have videos dedicated for each one of them. I mean, not for each one of them, but at least there'll be, let me show this one. This is the introduction video, and we have two separate videos, half talking about requirements, good practices of requirements management. Fine. Okay, then see me in the next one.